Welcome to the lesson on freeform invoicing and hiding sales tax in your invoice amount. I'm currently in the billing center and I just created a freeform invoice, and you can review the lesson on creating freeform invoices. But the difference between a regular freeform invoice and this one, where we're going to hide the sales tax in the contract amount, is this little checkbox right here called Contract Billing Freeform Invoices Only. A better name for it might be called Hide Sales Tax, because essentially that's what this is used for. So if there's a check mark in here, then when we go into freeform, I can show you how we handle the sales tax when you want to hide it in your invoice amount. Basically, I have two lines on this billing, and this is how it works. What I suggest is to enter one line on the invoice with the taxable checked on. This line will not show up on the invoice later, but it's simply to give you a visual calculation of what the sales tax is so we can add it into our contract. I'm going to move some of these columns so you can see the end result here of what I did. So on the first line, when I double click on it, it brings it down to my edit thing. And again, this is the only one with the taxable checked in it. That's very important. You don't need to have a description in here, but this is what I wanted to do. Is just tell Cobra on this line how much we're going to be billing for so that it can calculate the tax for me. So the billing is going to be for $25,000. $1,250 of its material, $1,250 labor. And when I press enter, what it did was calculated the sales tax for me that I need to add into my billing. Okay, so the second line, or any subsequent lines from here on after, what you want to do is make sure this taxable thing is not on, that checkbox is not on from here on out. Okay, because now what we want to do is say, okay, now I'm going to be billing for the full amount, which is the $25,000 plus the tax, and then we let it spread out amongst material, labor, and direct. Okay, so when I update that line, that's what I have. So basically I allowed the first line, the only taxable line here, to calculate out the tax for me based on what I'm going to be billing for. The second line, I added the tax into the total billing and spread it out amongst material, labor, and direct. Okay, so far so good. We have our full invoice amount that includes the tax, but there's not going to be a single line on this invoice that says taxable doing it this way. Okay, we're hiding the tax in this amount here. Now when I exit, I can preview this, and you'll see then that that one line that had the taxable checked on is not included on this. So you can have tons and tons of verbiage on your invoice, but only the taxable line will not show up here, because we're saying we need that tax for accounting purposes and for tracking in the sales tax reports, but we don't want it on the invoice. Excellent. So when I exit the preview, you can see at the bottom that everything turned out the way we wanted it to. This is what we billed for. This is how much of it was taxed for the sales tax reports. You can see at the very right under open balances that the retainage is correct, because the retainage was the open balance minus the sales tax. Everything turned out just the way we wanted it to. So again, this is the little key here, is this little check box, because that's telling Cobra I'm expecting one line to hide the tax in on the freeform screen. Okay, so again, turn this on when you're creating a freeform. When you're in your freeform screen, what I suggest is just to do a one-liner with the taxable on, so that it calculates the tax for the bill that you're doing, and you know how much tax you need to add into your billing then on any subsequent line. After that, then you do the full billing, which includes the tax. See that? And on any line after the first one, which is used just for calculating the tax, you want those lines not to have the taxable on when you're adding them to the free form. You'll get the result that you need. It works out really slick, and everything's in balance then. This ends the lesson on freeform invoicing and hiding sales tax in your billing.